Hi, my name is Max, and this is a story from my life. My wife Julia and I are currently going through a divorce. We were together for 6.5 years before marriage. About a week after the honeymoon, I noticed that her behavior was off. I just figured we were both just decompressing from the wedding as we don't like big crowds. A week after that, I had my first overnight trip for work since being married, and all I got were vague responses on the phone. As I was going to leave, it was almost like she was rushing me out the door. That following Saturday, we got into a fight because she stayed out 8 hours longer than she told me she would. I was upset because I waited all day for her to come home with little response and as to when she would come home. The following Sunday, I had day plans to play a round of golf with a friend. She told me she was going to run to her parents and to let her know when I would be on my way home. When I got home, that's when she first told me that she didn't think our marriage would work. I was blindsided. In the course of our relationship, we hardly ever fought prior to marriage. She was usually the type to give the silent treatment when she was mad. She tended not to tell me when things were wrong. I'd have to pry it out of her and then apologize. I didn't think things would go to this extent just 3 weeks after getting married. That following Monday, I tried to text her a long apology at work, telling her how sorry I was for the fight. She replied, saying that she's been unhappy for months. She also included that I let things get this bad the last time she wanted to leave. These statements were both surprises to me, because I swear she never told me she was unhappy. And I don't remember her ever saying she wanted to leave prior. She said nothing else until I got a text message around the time she was supposed to come home, saying that she was going for drinks and then probably to her parents. 10:30 p.m. rolls around, and I know for a fact that her parents don't stay up that late. Our car comes with an app called Ford Pass, which we both have on our phones. It gives the locations of the vehicle when it is parked. I look to see where it is, and it is not at her parents' but at some random address about an hour south. When she finally arrived home late, I asked where she had been, and she told me she went to an art festival alone and cried about her situation. As it turned out, said festival was about 3 miles away from where our car was parked. The following day, she came home from work, and we agreed to try and work on our marriage. This only lasted about a week as she was constantly picking fights, hiding her phone, and not wearing her wedding rings. I chose not to confront her about the car, as I figured that would only exacerbate things. That Friday, we attempted to go shopping for my niece's birthday. She barely talked to me and was blatantly hiding her phone screen, acting like she had somewhere to be. All it took was me making a comment about who she was talking to on her phone for her to blow up and leave the house. The following day, she returned in the morning to tell me that she wanted a divorce, and that she was never going to mentally recover from this. I told her I'd try individual and couples therapy, but there was no right answer for her, as it seemed that she had her mind made up. We had animals together, and when I asked what she wanted to do about them, her response was, "Do you want them?" Like she had no emotional attachment and was already checked out. Sunday, a day after separation, she showed up to the house and took all of our wedding gift cash off of our kitchen counter. When I asked why, she said, "Well, I'm gonna need some sort of money." She still had full access to our bank account and her personal account that I had no access to. She redirected her direct deposit from our joint account, moved in with her parents, and totally stopped contributing to all of our marital bills, mortgage, car payments, insurance, etc. About a week later, I looked into our phone bill. I had added her to my phone plan years back and was able to see the phone numbers she called and texted. One number stood out. This number called her phone the minute I was supposed to leave for my overnight work trip just a week before. There were 7 phone calls between her and this number, and 2 of the calls lasted a half hour. She told me that she planned to meet up with a female coworker that night for drinks. But this number didn't belong to that coworker, and they seemed to call each other before and after going out. I even tried to call her that night from my hotel room while they were on the phone, and she told me she missed the call because she was brushing her teeth. She was also on the phone with this number several times on the Saturday we had the fight. Again, the phone calls were long, like a half hour in length. That Friday, I noticed the car was back at that address, Ford Pass. This time, it spent the night. This was just 1 month and 3 days after getting married to me. The following week, she went back and spent another night. Then she started spending the weekend nights on top of weekends. I took screenshots of all this and obtained phone records to protect myself, as I now knew we would be getting divorced. I was able to do a reverse lookup on the phone number. I found out that it was her HR guy from the medical clinic where she worked. I also found his address, the same one where the car parked, his LinkedIn account, and his picture from an employee appreciation post. He doesn't have any social media, probably because he's a creep. I retained a lawyer but didn't confront her, as I wanted the process to go smoothly. When I told her I had a lawyer, she freaked out at work and threw a tantrum. She had expected us to work things out ourselves. We had a lot of mutual property, and I knew I couldn't trust her. She then told me that since I had a lawyer, we could no longer have undocumented conversations. She went on to trash me to mutual friends, saying that the reason our marriage didn't work was 100% my fault because I was a controlling asshole and impossible to live with. Those same friends later found out about the cheating. They had heard about it from a friend of mine and were able to confirm it for themselves, as she was sloppy about hiding it. The HR guy has since changed jobs, not sure why, and we are currently going through a no-contact divorce. I have blocked her on social media and was able to communicate with her just enough to divide up mutual possessions in our house. It's been hard for me not to be a jerk. This whole situation has been humiliating and hurtful. She completely changed over the course of just a few weeks. Her parents are supporting her, and she is feeding them stories about how I was abusive. In the 6 years we were together, she never once ran to their house, until after she started cheating. Coincidence? She hasn't talked to her friends in months as she got wind that they know about her infidelity. Our relationship wasn't perfect, and somewhat complacent, but I never saw this coming. I feel like most of this is just her rationalizing her shitty behavior, and she may have been hiding who she really was throughout the course of our relationship.